Whereas it is with great sorrow that we learned of the passing of Robert VanderLaan, a member of this legislative body from 1963 to 1982, he will be remembered as a statesman, a successful businessman, and a true gentleman. And whereas Robert VanderLaan was born in Dutton, Michigan, and spent nearly his entire life in Western Michigan, he attended the one-room Smith School and Grand Rapids Christian High School before earning degrees at both Calvin College and the University of Michigan. And whereas Robert VanderLaan had a lifelong passion for politics, he began his career as a political science teacher. At the same time, he worked his way up from the grassroots and was identified as a rising star in the Republican Party. He was a delegate to every Republican state convention beginning in 1952 and served as Paris Township, now City of Kentwood, trustee, clerk, and supervisor. In 1962, he was elected to the state Senate, defeating a long-serving incumbent. He served his constituents in the 31st District with distinction for 20 years as Senate Majority Leader from 1970 to 1974 and as Minority Leader from 1979 to 1982. And whereas Robert VanderLaan was a leader in the state legislature throughout some challenging and formative times, serving with integrity and putting his Dutch work ethic into practice, Robert VanderLaan's leadership skills were evident as he formed coalitions, forged compromises, developed solutions to complex problems, and worked effectively with members from both sides of the aisle. He demonstrated grace under pressure and steady leadership, working with Governors Romney and Milligan through 2 recessions when the state economy was faltering and unemployment was rising. As Majority Leader, Robert VanderLaan was able to guide legislation through a Senate evenly divided along party lines. And whereas Robert VanderLaan was extremely active crafting legislation and engaging in dialogue with colleagues, he sponsored legislation on campaign reform, raising the minimum wage, and allowing public school buses to transport students to private schools. He also supported the controversial establishment of the state's first income tax. He served on the Committee on the Senate Administration and Rules, State and Veterans Affairs, Finance, and Legislative Council, and as chairman of the Committees on Labor and Senate Business. He was involved with and held office in many government leadership organizations, including the National Conference of State Legislative Leaders, the State Legislative Leaders Foundation, and the Executive Committee of the Council of State Governments. And whereas following his time in the Michigan Senate, Robert VanderLaan remained a fixture in state politics. He united in bipartisanship partnership with former Speaker of the House Bobby Krim and founded one of Lansing's best-known lobbying firms, Governmental Consultant Services Incorporated. He served as chairman of the company for 12 years. And whereas today we honor the memory of Robert VanderLaan, an accomplished public servant whose legacy of leadership will long continue to enrich our state now, therefore be it resolved by the Senate that we offer this expression of our highest tribute to honor the memory of Robert VanderLaan, a member of this legislative body from 1963 to 1982, and be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be transmitted to the VanderLaan family as evidence of our lasting esteem for his memory. The rules have been suspended to allow for the immediate consideration of the resolution. There are no amendments pending to its adoption.
Senator Hildenbrand.
Thank you, Mr. President. I stand here with Senator Shoemaker. We both have the honor to represent kind of the core of former Senate Majority Leader VanderLaan's district in the greater Grand Rapids area. Although I really didn't get to know Senator VanderLaan very well, his name came up often in my time in serving in this body as well as in the Michigan House of Representatives. And it was very evident that he had a great respect from the people who he served with here in Lansing and also from the people he represented in a large portion of West Michigan. As was noted in the resolution, Senator VanderLaan started one of Lansing's well-known lobbying firms, Governmental Consultant Services Incorporated, and I know a number of the current lobbyists from the firm are up in the North Gallery as well to pay respect to his life and legacy. So with that, let us remember Senate Majority Leader VanderLaan's service and leadership in this chamber, and may his family, friends, and co-workers know of our thoughts and prayers during this most difficult time. With that, I ask for a moment of silence to honor Senator VanderLaan and ask for the adoption of Senate Resolution 114 to honor his life and legacy.
Members, will you please rise for a moment of silence? Thank you, members. All those in favor of the adoption of Senate Resolution 114 will say aye. Those opposed will say nay. The resolution is adopted.